right, welcome back to Enterprise Vibe Code. My name is Mike Lady, Senior DevOps Engineer, 11 years experience, and yes, we got a little sidetracked last session. And honestly, that's exactly what real engineering looks like. Everyone online is obsessed with just ship it, but the only reason production stays up in the real world is because engineers get distracted by the right things. Security holes, hidden infra debt, broken deploy paths, missing guardrails, orphaned ENIs haunting the VPC, the fun stuff. Last stream, we went deep on cleanup, making our Terraform the source of truth again, reinforcing budget circuit breakers, tightening IAM roles, stabilizing the shared RDS, and ensuring our agents can't accidentally nuke prod. It wasn't glamorous, it wasn't hype, it was DevOps. Because here's the truth. AI coding doesn't fail because the code is bad. It fails because the systems around it are weak. So today we're back on the mission. We're shipping Roxas to production with guardrails strong enough that even AI can't push us off a cliff. If something breaks, we'll fix it live. If something deploys, we'll celebrate live. If a budget alarm trips, you'll see it before I do. Thanks for being here. Smash like, grab a cold brew. Let's crack it open. Let's build systems worth trusting, and let's ship. So, drinking Kirkland cold brew today. Yeah, so let's see. Sorry, need to take a step. All right. All right, cool. Sweet. Sorry. So before I get to shipping, I just wanted to, so that was the scripted part, of course, and I just wanted to be, I don't know, whatever. Just read something that is clearly written by AI or whatever. Like this is an AI driven live stream, so I'm not going to be embarrassed by that or whatever, right? It's learning over time what my voice sounds like and what I'm used to talking about or whatever, so that's fine. I don't particularly, if it comes across as whatever scripted, it's because it is, and scripts are written not just by individuals, right? Like it's written by a collective of people, and for me, my collective includes my my agent or my chat GPT. So anyways, what I want to talk about, kind of unscripted, is this idea that we're going to replace junior engineers. Somehow people have it in their heads, and this is like, not an unfounded worry, unfounded kind of threat, or a unfounded claim, is that, oh, we're like companies who are laying people off and justifying their layoffs due to AI efficiencies. They're like, oh yeah, we're getting so much productivity out of AI such that we don't need as many people. It's like, well, yeah, right now, during the cycle, this is what you get rewarded with, right? This is what is incentivized right now at this particular point in time. But it won't be forever. So when people are saying AI is going to take our jobs, we're going to not need junior engineers anymore, I think that's kind of a false dichotomy. Just how it's currently set up, how the market is currently set up. And I feel like once the tide turns, once people actually start getting, so there was a study that came out, I think by the Dora people or I don't know, somebody did some research over the last year or in 2024, I believe. Excuse me. Or yeah, I forget exactly when, but it was like companies who implement AI saw a productivity decrease. Like it wasn't even additive. It was kind of a decrease almost. And I feel like once it's more generally accepted that companies can reliably implement AI workflows, AI in their workflows, and they're like, okay, one developer, at least like how we are coding on this channel. One developer, I'm currently controlling like one agent, right? I can only like with running the live stream and running like talking while I'm doing this thing, I'm only controlling one agent. But if I'm in kind of like a normal not talking workflow, a normal like if it's just me and I only have to think and I don't have to verbalize everything that I'm doing, I can control like multiple. I can have multiple plates spinning at a time. And it's on different projects, but I think that's kind of the point, is that you can like kind of add some parallelism to your workflows. And so for developers, the ability to control one AI agent is like a step change. It's kind of like the first, going from 0 to 1, right? It's going from 0 push-ups to 1 push-up. It's going from 0 pull-ups to 1 pull-up. It's like that kind of monumental, fundamental shift in how you move like that, right? Like how you function is if you can go from 0 agents to 1 agent and managing that 1 agent effectively, you can start to scale. You can start to move up, going from 1 to 2, 2 to 3, or spinning up a large number, a swarm of agents, and having enough work to a work planned out and parallelizable to have many agents or sub agents working on different things. So I think that's where we are right now, or at least where I am right now, is getting really good at serial agents running one at a time. I feel like that's not going to be forever, but I think that's the first skill, and people kind of want to jump into like, oh, then whatever, I can't one shot creating Slack or whatever. I can't one shot P equals MP is like my joke, that I'm like, oh man, AI sucks because I can't do this really hard thing with just one prompt. It's like, well, how? So one thing that I've, this is all kind of working off of, okay, let me say this and then I'll get back to like the main point of like how the job market's going to be. It's prompting and like working with AI agents is more about, it's not just telling it what you want, it's how you want to get there, the process of how you want to get there. Sorry, I'm just adjusting my mic because maybe it's in the way or something. I don't know. It's not so much like it's not telling it what you want. It's also telling you it's working with agents is not just about telling the agent what you want. It's about how you want it to work towards it. So it's not just, hey, I want to implement feature X. It's how do you want the process of implementing feature X to go? Do you want test-driven development? Do you want to plan it out? Do you want to break it down? You want to chunk it down into like more discrete tasks? Do you want to make it a tracer bullet approach where it's like we try to implement a thin slice of an end-to-end feature? Do we want to have a there's all these qualities about the process that I feel like we don't we're not there yet. We're there. There's like certain management things that we need to take into consideration that we're not that most people just are prompting with just what they want, like rather than how to get there. They're prompting about the feature. They're defining all the requirements. They're filling in, hey, I want this feature to do X, Y, and Z. Maybe they're saying add tests, maybe, but how do we want the tests to work, and like how, like all these different things. So like, let me just read you my my initial prompt. Kind of like, this is the thing that I feel like is there's some like really good like sauce in here. When I say sauce, like secret sauce. So please ultra think. So that's Claude's thing with that's Claude using all the tokens. Please ultra think and plan with beads a critical path tracer bullet MVP process driven approach. Use TDD where you first write the steps to be read and then turn the test green by implementing them. Please think about order of operations and dependencies. So I say like critical path. I'm like throwing a bunch of terms here, but each one, critical path. All right, what's the minimum number of steps? What is this? The critical path, the things that need to be connected, A to B to C to D to get the thing done. Tracer bullet, same, maybe overloaded concept, but just like throwing it in there to, if it triggers, jogs the AI's model in a different way. Because tracer bullet is like a specific like software development type of thing where you're kind of like tracing like multiple systems and kind of creating the minimum viable product, which is, I also say MVP in here, where you are creating as small of a dependency, well, not dependencies, but like a small of a, you're not implementing all the features. You're just focusing on a thin slice of functionality and saying, all right, we want this to work end to end. And I'm also like, so basically, to cite my sources, I've stolen a lot of these words from Gene Kim and Steve Yagi. And like, I think we need to, so like the vibe coding book, I'm going to refer to this like every live stream, is super valuable. And they say these things in that book, the tracer bullet approach. Steve Yagi created the beads framework. This is like how he personally works with AIs. And he's creating like an agent orchestration framework, which I'm sure he says he'll be done this month or whatever, but who knows? Which I'm gonna absorb. I will totally eat up anything that he says, because he's probably vibe coded more than anyone else on the planet. So he's making all the tools that are probably going to be fundamental for coding with AI agents moving forward. Anyways, so all of that is to say the how of how things get done, the process of how things get done is just important as what gets done. And I think that's the point of this whole podcast show, live stream, whatever you want to call this, is that we need to be process driven. We need to be aware of like, this is a software engineering process, and that this is literally the same thing as if we're managing human developers. I also say managers have been vibe coding this whole time. Like they tell developers what to do, what they need to do, what tasks to work on, issues to work on. And they don't write every line of code themselves. They just review it. They don't really, sorry, I need to sneeze. Managers are the original vibe coders. Like, they don't write every line of code themselves. Yet, somehow, they can run engineering organizations. Somehow it all works, right? Like, how does that work? Like if people who are skeptical about vibe coding are so like, oh, how can you not like write any lines of code? It's like, well, your manager's doing it, right? Like your manager somehow is corralling the team in such a way that you're successfully all producing code that gets written, but not by them. They are delegating that responsibility to the developer, to someone outside of themselves, to a thing outside of themselves that they trust, right? And they can spot check, and then they can say, hey, I'm not sure if we're going in the right direction with this thing, or hey, the quality wasn't that good on this part. Like the management issues, that's the whole thing is like they're delegating responsibility, and then they give feedback to that delegation. Like they give feedback on the results, the output of that delegation, right? So developers are in this uncomfortable position of like, their job is fundamentally changing. Our job is fundamentally changing. I'm a developer too, right? Where we are now managers of agents. We now manage these things. We are now delegating the responsibility of typing the code out to something else. We are delegating. We're giving up a level of control, but we are still taking on the responsibility of whatever the code that gets output, right? We are now managers. Like, same thing with managers. Managers, if something goes wrong on a team and say whatever, production goes down, for as an example, and somebody on the team committed a bad change, that manager is going to be held to account for their team's behavior. And it's on that manager to enforce systems and processes and corrective measures for that engineer to run an RCA, to analyze what went wrong, and to create systems to prevent that thing from going wrong in the same way again, right? There's always going to be new and interesting ways to like things fail, right? Spectacularly, in fact. Like, sorry. Like AWS US East 1 goes down all the time because it's like, well, it's also like a linchpin of like the entire Amazon system, right? There are certain things that cannot be divorced from US East 1, even though in theory they have different regions, right? But there, yeah, like Cloudflare going down, like all these systems are going down because of one too many factors at a time, right? Like there's probably one change that happens or one like triggering event, but it's a whole system of changes. I'm using my hands here because I want to kind of analogize this to agents. Like I use my hands like this to describing constraints around agents. We're describing constraints around systems that do things that run code. Like no one person understands all the code written at basically any mid-size company, right? Once you get past a team of, I don't know, 10 people, maybe even, right? Like nobody understands everything. Like every single line ever written. No one person is going to have it all in their heads at once. So we just need to set up systems and constraints to prevent guardrails. I keep going back to guardrails. Constraint, like I'm using different words to try to like hammer this in. We need many different multi-dimensional guardrails to keep things on track, on rails. Ruby on Rails, right? That's the idea. Is like these things were like, we're setting these systems up such that they are on track. They are moving in a direction. They are going. They have no choice but to go in a certain direction, right? We are constraining the field of play, the field of what's possible, to a certain space that we're okay with, that we're comfortable with. We're like, all right, as long as customer data doesn't get deleted, like we're okay with whatever, production going down, as long as like the super duper worst case scenario never happens, right? Like there's a space of things that we're delegating and we're constraining what's possible. And maybe say we're not okay with production going down, so we need a staging that proves out whatever code changes, right? So maybe we're not okay with production going down. We're not okay with we stop if staging fails. But okay, maybe like staging isn't as close to prod because it's literally not prod. Yeah, like all these different constraints. We're constructing a system to constrain human and agent behaviors, right? That all of this is constraints. And this is like, all right, I'm going on a rant today. We're 20 minutes and I'm fucking ranting today. This is constraint-led approach. This is what I saw in jiu-jitsu. This is literally just what happened in jiu-jitsu the last 3 years. This guy, Greg Souders, he he popularized this method of coaching and training, the constraints-led approach or ecological approach, where it emphasizes that it's you in the environment, and we need to shape the environment to develop your skills. We shape the environment with constraints. You're allowed to do something, you're not allowed to do something. Your goal is to do something. Your goal is to prevent somebody from doing something. They're trying to do something to you, right? Like this is the same thing in engineering. This is like literally the same story in software engineering today. It's just a different environment, different constraints, but we're constraining how people work. And people aren't allowed to go and log into the server, the production server, and edit text files right on the server, right? We've constrained that code needs to go through a pipeline, a CI/CD pipeline. It needs to go into version control. It needs to be reviewed by engineers. There's a whole process we've developed over time. Tests need to get run against it. It needs to get deployed to certain places to kind of suss out, to make sure it works, right? There's all kinds of various levels of testing. There's all types of constraints that we need to do in order to make sure software ships at a high quality, no regressions, and delights our users. That's the term that people use, delighting users. Nothing changes about that with agents. Like it's all the same thing. We just need to apply it as developers to agents on like the next level down. Like we are now managers enforcing this process on agents the next level down. We are now managers. The leaf nodes are now agents. And the future is how many leaf nodes. Here's how I'm going to circle it back to the beginning topic. The leaf nodes, the number of leaf nodes that you can control, your span of control, which is whatever, in management terms, span of control, the number of people underneath you. Sounds like MLM, right? But like the number of people that you control, you manage, the organization you run, that is kind of what you're judged by. Like, oh, I'm a manager of 8 people. You're a line manager. If you're a senior manager, you manage, I don't know, a few more people, like a couple teams of people, right? Maybe 20, 30, 40 people, right? The next level up, director, maybe you manage 80 people, 100 people. Like that's kind of the span of control, right? So Steve Yegi just wrote this article about there's the goal for developers in 2026 is to go from a handful of agents to dozens, if not 100 agents, increasing your span of control as a manager of agents to not just 2, not just 3, not just a handful, but to teams and teams and teams of agents. That's crazy. But that's the future. This dude's been right. This dude is right. So I'm just trying to get my head wrapped around that, and I'm just trying to like talk to people and say, hey, this is what's coming. Like, you individually slinging code around, that's not a useful skill anymore. Like that like, as crazy as that sounds, you individually typing the letters out yourself is not a valuable skill anymore. It's that's not the valuable skill in and of itself, right? Even though you enjoy it, you may enjoy the puzzle, the problem solving aspect of it, the putting together like Lego blocks or whatever, assembling it, right? But do we need code assemblers, or do we need code architects, code designers, code like managers, right? Like we're what companies want to pay for is going to change, and they're kind of trying to do that until there's like a real wave of people, like the entire industry kind of uptaking this and like realizing real value out of AI. Performance reviews isn't really like, that's not what the performance review aspect, and like, oh, this person did 10 times more than you. That's going to be a conversation at some point, at least according to Steve Yegi. But I think as teams and people become more and more productive, companies are going to want to hire more people, right? Like, if one person can manage say one agent, or one person can manage one agent effectively versus one person can manage 10 agents effectively. Just think of it in terms of like numbers that you can manage. One agent versus 10 versus 100, right? Like, think of these like 3 orders of magnitude. Companies are going to want to try to find more of the people who can manage 10 and 100 agents, and that's going to be the standard. That's going to be the metric that they judge people by. Yes, they need to know how to manage all those agents. They need to know software development principles. They need to know coding principles. They like all this stuff is still important. but it's going to be up leveled. It's going to be like, all right, how do you apply systems design principles across 100 developers, 100 agents? How do you manage like 10 agents, manage code these 10 agents working on a project, and then another 10 agents working on a different project, then another like 20 to 30, like who knows what it's going to look like, right? But like, how do we figure out a way? And these are like coding agents. This isn't like, I think people are doing like some weird like handoff pipeline thing with like, oh, this is a front end agent, this is a back end agent, this is a QA agent, this is a like, I don't believe that shit. That's just me. I've tried that. Maybe I didn't try hard enough. Maybe I'm not being open minded enough. That's a core value of this live stream, podcast, whatever. So I'll reserve if somebody can show me how they do it, how they use multiple role agents. That's whatever. I'm open to hearing about it. But until then, I'm going to say these are all just regular vanilla coding agents. How well the jobs of the future, which could be the very near future in the next 2 to 3 years, because 6 months ago, I didn't know what a freaking agent was, right? I didn't use a coding agent to do anything. I was just like, oh, this is a neat toy thing. Like I used a Kilo code towards the end of my sabbatical. I started vibe coding. Wrote up some cool things where I was like, oh, this is the. I figured out like my average class size because I take pictures of my jiu-jitsu classes, and I used some like computer vision stuff to like identify faces in each picture just to count the number of people who are in there. And then over time I tracked the that was like my first project, my first like successful project with vibe coding. And I didn't write a single line of code there. That was my first peak. That was only 6 months ago. Now we're talking about that. That was with me clicking apply all, doing chat and then clicking apply all and then moving on, right? Like now this is like, these are agents going and interacting with systems like on whatever. Let's get into, okay, I'll get into it in a second. I'll wrap it up. 30 minutes into the rant, but like agents are interacting with systems and able to write code, observe the change, even if it's just on like GitHub, right? Like I've demonstrated that these agents can make a code change, the PR, push up the PR, watch the PR build, the PR checks on GitHub, react to that, fix it. Like I'm completely out of the loop. I'm only in the loop at the very end of it saying, oh, hey, yeah, I did it. Or, oh, I'm kind of stuck. Like, can you help me out? So that is just 6 months from me copy and pasting what the code was outputting, what the coding agent was like, oh yeah, you should try to use this code, to, hey, yeah, I'm just going to go work on that task that you said, that you defined, that I defined and planned and whatever, worked around. So 6 more months from now, in June of next year, by my birthday next year, by my 35th birthday, I'm probably going to be managing a team. I don't know. Let's call it, let's set a goal. Let's put it on wax here. I'll be managing 10 agents a day, doing different tasks, running different projects, or all on the same project. Maybe I figure out how to parallelize my work a lot better, and these agents can all merge things together much easier. And I think I'll be where I think Gene Kim and Steve Yegi are like 6 months from now. I think there is a skill curve to this, and they're further along it than we are, right? I think like jujitsu, it takes 10 years to get a black belt, right? The skill curve, but it's not like linear. It's not a linear, like, it's linear in time, like 1 year after another, after another, after another, after another. But really the learning curve is quadratic. It's exponential in that the more you learn, the more you're able to learn. And then the more you're able to learn, the more you're able to learn, the more you're able to learn, the more you're able to learn. So really, okay. So let me see on the screen how I'm doing this. Yeah. Oh, okay. It's matching. So you're going up and to the right. It's more curvy rather than linear. Like, it's not a straight line. It's not linear with time. It's exponential or quadratic in time. Do you guys see that? So exponential versus linear. So it's not just incremental improvements. It's improvements that improve improvements that improve improvements. It's accelerating. And if you take a physics class, like, there's the position, and the first derivative is velocity. So that's the speed, quote unquote speed, of how that position changes over time. And the second derivative is acceleration, which is how fast that speed is changing over time. This is why we need to do math. This is why we still need college and, like, whatever. People still need, we're going to need STEM majors. Like, it's not, whatever. We're not going to obsolete people from working, right? Like, from having to think. We're not going to solve everyone's problems right away. But we are working on the acceleration part. So, like, we're not just linearly typing word by word anymore. We are typing words that one agent can figure out and plan and really, really hammer out the details on. And then we can accelerate it, the second derivative, by parallelizing that work out to many agents. And then all those agents, like, figure out how to do things and how to coordinate their different work, and then parallelize it, put it all together, merge it in. So anyways, going back to the original point, we're going to need junior developers because junior developers have to develop the skill. And senior developers don't even have the skill yet, right? So junior developers are now juniors. Junior developers are now at the same level as senior developers. Just senior developers just have a little bit better spidey senses and instincts around this. And I think junior developers are going to be fine in that once companies realize that the more people that they hire, that can do this 10x, 100x agent management thing, the more they want to develop that pipeline. So it's not just, we can't get Mike Lady in June 2026. He can manage 10 agents. He's whatever, too expensive. It's like, all right, how do we develop our own people? How do we train our own people to become that, right? I think that's where we're going. Like, we'll revisit in 6 months and see. I think it's just there's too much money to be made by developing software developers, by training software developers in this specific way. Just like jiu-jitsu in the constraints-led approach, ecological approach, it just works too well for the whole industry to not converge on this answer. Like 3 years ago, Greg Souders was a lunatic for proposing, hey, maybe we should change how we train jiu-jitsu. maybe the way that we've been training jiu-jitsu all along has been wrong or has been suboptimal, and everybody hated him for it. They were just like, oh, it's not even, that doesn't make sense. Like, how can you go against the masters? Like, you're saying the world champions don't know what they're doing? It's like, yeah, we're allowed to criticize. We're allowed to have different ideas about how these things work. Just because somebody is a world champion at something, they are the best at something, doesn't necessarily mean they're super optimal at that. The way that they got there was the most optimal way, or the best path, or whatever. Like, maybe they just freaking grinded it out, and that's a necessary, and in that case for them, sufficient condition to achieve their success. But for others, we may want to have more. For other people to achieve better success, they can't just grind things out, because what they get out of every grind, every increment of grind, is not enough. And they need to optimize a little bit more. They need to improve their improvements. They need to optimize every increment of grind. So if your grind is you add 1 unit of grind, you get 1.01 units of grind out. That person is going to progress a little bit differently than somebody who puts 1 unit of grind in and then gets 2 units of results out, right? Or one person puts 1 unit of grind in and they get 10 results, 10x results out, 10 units out, right? That's what we're changing here with AI agents, is that vibe coding agents, whatever you want to call it. I don't give a fuck. Like, we are changing the amount of work one individual can do. And we are playing with this exponential increase in skill and increase in output. It's a skill, something that we need to work on and try to master. These companies, Anthropic and OpenAI and all that, like, they're going to continue to improve their models, but we have to realize it's also on us. It's not just the AI's, oh, the AI hallucinates or whatever. It's like, have you seen a hallucination recently in code? Have you tried? Or did you see a hallucination 6 months ago and now that's just your first impression, and that's the only thing that you're working on? That's your basic assumption. Nothing has changed in 6 months. Whereas I've gone from copying and pasting answers from chat into the code base, and now agents are running and completing tasks for me, mostly on their own. Like, I tell them to plan and I nudge them along and I constrain them, but they're writing all the code now. What's it going to be in 6 months? Like, that to me is an exponential increase. Just in my own, like, personal development, or not personal development, but like in my own work life, there has been an exponential increase. The output, it's not necessarily exponential right now because I've had to put in so much work in understanding how this thing works, how to get a 1x. How do I go from, because like now I'm, instead of like writing the code myself, I had to figure out the skill of managing it. And I had to go from 1x developer to 0.5x developer. And now I'm creeping my way back up to a 1x developer. And then now I think that now it's creeping back up, but it's going to be an exponential creep up. And it's going to it's going to go vertical soon. At least that's me. I don't know. Maybe this is a hype video. Anyways, let's look at some code. Maybe we're not going to deploy to production today. I just got too excited. But yeah, junior devs, don't worry, be happy. We're going to get out of this like cost cutting cycle soon, hopefully. because once companies realize they can become more profitable by adding more developers, and they can train developers to become more profitable by adding more developers and adding AI, we're going to get back on a hiring cycle soon. It's just going to take a little bit for companies to actually see the results of their work, of like start to see the returns of this AI investment. Junior devs, hang in there. Okay. But yeah, like even just this project, this Roxas project is exponential for me. I started this 2 weeks ago, and I would have never done any of this. Like on my own, never, ever. Would have never even considered it. Would have never opened up this AWS account because I would have thought, oh, it's just too much to like try to do this full stack app by myself. Oh, I need to get somebody to whatever, who knows what they're doing or whatever. It's like, no, I am now the one person managing all these agents. I don't need a whatever. I'm the one managing, and I'm the one nudging and prodding, and I don't necessarily have to learn everything. I just have to know enough as to what looks good and doesn't look good. Okay. Getting back to this. We're trying to clean up ENIs, network interfaces, renamed. You can see this. Okay, cool. So we're trying to clean up all these ENIs. Rename DB cleanup, add new cleanup actions, clean up ENIs, SGs, all. Updated Terraform. Okay. Can we run the cleanup function? And just test it out, because we have a bunch of ENIs that we so again, this is like is currently deployed, does have this. Check if I can invoke it with the access to draw test connectivity. Okay. All right. Let's. So once. All right. So we need to look at this PR. Let's have Codex review this PR. Did I have it review this PR? Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what happened. Summary, and then, okay, let's have Codex review. I've got there. Codex is on it. And then let's put Gemini on it too. So wait for ENI cleanup, orphan ENIs, security groups. Approvals, full access. T. Oh, it doesn't like going outside the directory. All right, whatever. It's going to review it and I'll do stuff. All right. Oh, I think it'll say it'll have like a blue thing, maybe, if it's, yeah, it'll show this little circly thing if it's still running, and then it might like change to a blue dot if it's done. So Okay. PR. Oh yeah, PR cleanup div. So yeah, it's wait for E&I cleanup, and then every time we'll actively clean up any orphaned E&Is just to maintain that. We deleted main test on DB cleanup. Okay, yeah, probably because we changed it to PR cleanup. And then let's see. Dev. What are we on? Roxas. Status. Or CD command. And it's just PR cleanup. Okay, cool. Okay, this guy's done. Complete a review. Poster review. Okay, cool. PR cleanup. It's adding IAM roles or changing the roles. All right, let's see what Gemini has to say. CL agent. Is after Terraform destroy it, energy destroy fails. They're not run at if always. Okay, nice. Cool. Codex still running. I think, yeah, Codex is a little bit more thorough. which is good to have like different qualities amongst agents. Like you don't want like the same person reviewing your code, right? You want different results. And then for good measure, let's have Claude review. Okay, I probably gotta get going at 8, so it's 7 right now. So just can still do a solid 2 hours, but yeah, more ranting today than coding. So apologies. Okay, cool. And okay, Codex is posting individual line comments. But yeah, I like comments. So comments are how we work with our coworkers. We don't go and change their PR underneath them, right? We don't say if I went to my coworkers' PR, checked out their branch, and just changed all their stuff to how I wanted it to be, that would be kind of a dick move, right? If I just pushed commits to exactly how I wanted to do his PR, that'd be kind of a dick move, right? Like we don't do that. We comment and we ask, hey, can you change it in this way? Hey, can we redirect? Like we add constraints around each other to direct each other. Hey, can you do it more like this? Can you do it more in this kind of way? Can you fix this, change this? We have a layer of comments to kind of, we're not directly editing the files, right? We're not directly changing the files, we're talking about the files. So same thing with agents, is like agents don't just change things, but they can comment on things and do context. What's the context? How much context do we have? We're at 50% context. Okay. All right. Let's just reset here. I'll have Claude look at current open PR code and comments left by other agents. Please address the PR reviews and PR comments, code changes if they're relevant. If not, just kick it out. Like, again, like, just because an agent says something on here doesn't necessarily mean we need to do it. So I'm giving Claude the ability, this ultra think ability, to go through and figure out what comments are relevant and what aren't, and like what's within scope and what's not within scope. Clear picture of all the PR reviews and comments, please. And apparently PR review is different than an inline comment. I had to change the prompt last time. So play crayon, plan, address each issue. Okay. Wow, edits. Oh, okay. That's funny. Yeah. So this is what I'm saying is like, I haven't typed a line of code for this entire project. And I have almost a working app. Like a bit like an app that, well, in 3 hours when I first started this project, I had something that took a push from GitHub, took those commits from GitHub and the messages, sent them to OpenAI, got a write-up from OpenAI, generated a picture from OpenAI, and then posted that to LinkedIn. Like, I did not write a single line of code. Like, that is remove built by, yes. So there's a layer of abstraction that we need to get used to as developers and be like, all right, I need to just let the delegate to the agent and just trust it. Hey, it can do this. And if it's not doing what I want it to do, I can adjust it. I can constrain it in a different way to force a different behavior. So I think that that's the learning curve, and people are uncomfortable with a new learning curve after they've achieved a certain level of mastery with what they were doing currently with what they had already been successful with, right? They were successful with typing individual lines of code, and now that they're this is actually a book, Who Moved My Cheese. It's a very short book. Highly recommend it. Read it as a team with a former team, I don't know, 5 years ago or something like that. Who Moved My Cheese? It's you, if you depend on your thing being a certain way and never changing, you have a fragile system. They explain this in like not in not these terms, but I'm using like Nassim Nicholas Taleb type of terms, where it's you're not anti-fragile if you don't inject a little bit of like change and chaos into your workflow, right? If you need things to be the same, rigid, the same thing, if you need your job to be the same, if you need your circumstances to always be the same, you're not anti-fragile. You don't grow from chaos. You don't grow, like you're too rigid. You're gonna fracture. You're gonna snap if something changes on you. If your life has to be exactly the same for you to be happy, you're not going to be happy, because the only constant is change. So you have to be adaptable enough, anti-fragile enough, such that you gain from things shifting a little bit here, a little bit there. You kind of sway. You're not rigid. You're not stiff and rigid like a building. But this is like fragility versus like not fragile, right? But anti-fragile is you gain from chaos, you gain from change, right? Versus having something having to be the same all the time, and not budging. So okay. Oh, hey, we've got a couple of viewers, I think, maybe. Hello. So, all right, we addressed the feedback. We closed it. Resolve inline comment, add a comprehensive summary. And I think it addressed all the different, like 6 comments. Okay, cool. All right, let's merge PR. So now, how do I imagine scaling this up? Once I have this system of, so the thing that we're interested in here is the destroy. Yeah, this is the destroy deployment. So we want to watch this. Oh, and it is watching this. Still running because we closed merge. It's interesting that it got confused, that it merged. Please watch the destroy dev environment job. So I wanted to watch it and make sure that it's working the way it expects it to work. So destroyed it. Deploy your infrastructure. Oh. Please watch. PR cleanup, that's it. Okay, yeah. Yeah, it didn't work with this one. Maybe I need a functionality of like manually triggering this from a PR just to even test it. Because there's going to be times where I need to not just run this on changes to main. Doesn't exist like it looks like. See. So yeah, and this is again like guardrails. It's just tried to like, oh, I'm gonna push it to main. It's like, well, we need to create a PR, and it's gonna go do that. Oh shit. Please make a workflow pathway from test this deploy shared infrastructure job from APR. PR, but also a way to signal that it is happening to other agents or developers working on PRs at the same time. So there's going to be shared infrastructure in the dev environment that could be changing if we enable this kind of workflow, because it's no longer just developing or deploying like the PR Lambda. We're now like, okay, I need to change the shared infrastructure somehow, and I need to alert other people, hey, this is happening. Share infrastructure PR. Open PRs develop. Okay, nice. Comments on open PRs. All right. So if this is happening, it changes something out from underneath other PRs, it can alert, hey, this is what's going on. So that's cool. That's good. So again, like these are all like issues that I need to solve in a single threaded way. I need to go from 0 to 1 here. And then once I've fixed all these 0 to 1 problems, I can really just let it fly. PR test share infrastructure. Deployment locked for cost of PR deploys. For share infrastructure. Cleans up and notifies when done. Nice. Yeah. Good. Perfect. So yeah, the more we think in terms of teams, how do all these teams of agents work together? I think that's the future. How how do developers work together today, and how do we make scale that to teams of agents? How do we get that to having 10 agents work on a thing at the same time? We just need to set up the infrastructure in such a way that they're successful, that it keeps them on their guardrails, keeps them constrained in such a way that they're still helpful. They're net positive than net negative. So, which looks a lot different than typing individual lines of code. Cool. So yeah, it's watching the workflow. I don't have to work. I don't have to watch it. It's watching it. I'm just reviewing the code. So it's doing the shared stuff. Test circuit breaker, dry run. Comment PR results. Deploy shared RDS infrastructure. Limited build path work. Let me check it. Workflow also triggered. Oh, so is it going to trigger on changes? What changes does it trigger on? On paths. Ah, yes. Cool. On paths, Terraform shared. It doesn't have actually their environment protected. Environment dev. Custom environment, share environment dev. Let me revert to, okay, gotcha. Dev. Yeah. We'll need this. So yeah, see, it's like iterating through this without me looking at it, right? Like the certain things can only happen on CI/CD, and like and this is, I want it to happen on CI/CD. It's not just unit tests. It's not just like integration tests happening locally, making sure those things work. It's like, no, we're deploying infrastructure and we're testing it. It has to go through GitHub Actions to do that. Terraform shared RDS, Terraform backend shared. I wonder what's backend shared. I haven't looked at the Terraform backend. Oh, shared dev backend shared prod. What's this? Oh, the state backend. Okay, for sure. Dev environment. Okay, gotcha. It's just the Terraform backend. Okay. Okay, gotcha. All right. Same issue doesn't run, only apply does, but plan apply all should builds up. Oh yeah, workflow handles this. Build a claim before running Terraform share workflow. Okay, cool. Shared RDS job. Okay, cool. Sorry, I coughed right in your face. Okay, PR test shared infra. Yeah, okay, so we're on all paths, the shared, on circuit breaker, PR cleanup, shared. Yeah, so it's only going to run this workflow on the shared stuff, which is good. Yeah. Because we want to test it before we deploy it anyway, right? Like we don't want to have to iterate multiple PRs to get to that shared test state. Okay, cool. And again, yeah, it's just cranking on it without me telling it, without me working on it. It's kind of crazy. I'm just kind of almost twiddling my thumbs right now just because I mean, just because I'm talking to you guys almost is like my attention is kind of split between this thing working, watching the build. I guess I can watch the build too. PR deployed dev. Oh, okay, so it's doing this stuff. Oh, test shared infra. Okay, cool. What is it doing? Cleanup. All right, cleanup. Test circuit breaker. Try to run. But yeah, over time, I can see. So what my goal is, like, once I get this end-to-end app done, and just set up and dialed, I want to make a framework that agents can just use. That all this infrastructure setup that I'm doing, this is commonly used. These are all common things that I'm not the only person in the world who has to do these things, right? I'm not the only person in the world who has to be concerned about a dev environment and a prod environment and different Terraform infrastructure states, and how I'm just looking at my cats here. They're just sleeping in the office. I'm not the only one who has to solve all these problems. These are all like very common problems. And these CI/CD things and all of these things, I want to be able to say, all right, this is the dialed framework. Roxas uses the dialed framework using these GitHub workflows. Like, you're gonna have to deploy to prod. You have to define a prod environment. You have to define a dev environment. You want to deploy from every PR. You want to have some sense of a shared infrastructure because you don't want to deploy everything on every PR. Like, all these things are common, and I think there's going to be a way where I want to one shot, where I want to help new agents spin up new apps way easier. All these frameworks spin up way easier and get off the ground running quicker. Failed. Let me check the logs. Backend file. Yeah. Has on workflow or backend config. So my problem here is I didn't have it plan this, which with inline backend config, file. Hang on, wait, what? Shared RDS isn't code. Is tracking code, but it's not deployed via CIDC. Looking at workflows. Shared, no workflow currently. Deploys, share RDS auto. So deploy manually. Going to do a one-time setup says RDS long live. There's a gap. Share RDS. Deployed. When changed, keep manual. Okay. All right, so I'm just gonna, since there's more being added to here, I'm gonna tell it to ultra think and plan all this out. So please, because part of this is my fault. Part of this is me not understanding I mean, of course this is my fault. This is me managing all these agents and how they interact with the infrastructure. But this is good. Like, so I still needed like some sense of like, hey, this doesn't look right. Like, this thing isn't tracked in code. Why isn't this tracked in code? Because I did a dumb thing like last week or 2 weeks ago when initially setting this thing up, I didn't fully understand what I was doing. So now I'm like, hey, now that we have this thing kind of worked out of like, all right, we're going to have two paths here. We're going to have the kind of the application deploy path and the kind of the shared infrastructure deploy path. And we want to deploy the shared infrastructure a lot less often, but we still are going to need to deploy it sometimes. And we're going to need to make changes, and we don't want to make those changes manual and be like a one-time setup type of thing. So again, this is like working on the thing, hammering all these things out. Please do option 1 and think through so that these shared changes they are high availability. Possibly doing a what's the Terraform thing? The create after Terraform life cycle create before destroy. because again, for this is like the application database, and the RDS database takes, I don't know, 10 minutes to create. So I don't want to do that every PR. That's why I separated it out. I didn't want to wait 10 minutes every PR to spin these databases up and down. So I created a shared one, which is probably the right thing to do. Oh, okay, sure. So I separated kind of the application concerns from the persistence concerns, which is probably a, you know, systems design thing that I stumbled upon. So I don't want to deploy the database every time. So I separate it out into this shared concept, and then all these different PR applications are going to point to the shared RDS, and then they'll each have their own tables and all that kind of stuff, and persist through their different tests, and then drop the table once they tear down the PR gets merged and tear down their infrastructure, their lambdas or whatever. So more comprehensive layers. CB. Okay, so it's all right. So I thought through, and then it's going to do it. All right, sure, cool. PR cleanup, job after deploy dev. Shared VPC networking is right. Workflow shared infra. Okay. Again, 6 months ago, I could not have dreamed of doing this all myself. But now here I am. Build and cleanup lambda. Applied lambda invoke. Was Terraform shared. Shared. Avoid unexpected restart. Apply immediately. Apply during maintenance window. Well, okay. All right. Since the goal is to try to deploy to prod, which I don't know if we're going to do that today, but I'll tell it to say, hey, like, make this deploy lifecycle consider prod on main. We hit a compaction. Damn. Hopefully it works, but like, hopefully it maintains kind of the what it was doing. Add this same logic for RDS in prod for Shared RDS and prod. Close and prod. Same logic for shared RDS workloads and prod. So RDS deploy and prod. Branch. Please consider, please, 0 downtime method. Try doing a 0 downtime method. Oh shit. Sure, yeah. Oh, maybe I shouldn't do that. Like right now. Continue. Oh. Oh, it's interesting that's like kind of interleaving these things. Like I told it to think about this, and then it's like, let me check the build occasionally and see what's going on. Does prod need similar pattern for comment? Sure. Prod typically don't appear. However, possible. Actually, wait. Look more carefully. Architecture. Sure, VPC. Want I take your production. Let me think about what makes sense and continue monitoring the build while I play on this. That's kind of cool. Like it's pipelining these like CPU pipelining these different things. Specifically hard coded for dev. Not designed for prod. Change parameter. Just really niche or looking at its purpose. Already. Why did it close it? Why did we close the PR? Yeah. So now, now we're like potentially missing work here. Like it closed this PR, and then I hope we didn't like blow things away. All right. Oh, both dev and prod. Oh, interesting. We're not quite deploying to prod. I don't think we're going to deploy to prod today, but we're getting there. We are starting to think about, all right, how do we want to, what is the workflow for deploying all these different like shared infrastructure things versus the base infrastructure and then the application infrastructure. Like the Lambda, we're separation concerns or separation. The Lambda that hooks into the VPC, hooks into the database and all that kind of stuff. There's things that need to get deployed every time, and then there's going to be less often deployed things. Sure, RDS browser, we should deploy RDS in the same way across dev and prod to minimize differences between dev and prod, just adjust resource usage. In as similar of a way as possible across. Different resource configure. Let me have to be able to plan this properly. So I always stop it when it creates these like to-dos, and make it turn into beads. I know we ran over a context window. I just want to, yeah, make sure it persists. It persists these thoughts into beads. Let's see, land the plane. Oh, well, it merged. Okay, it merged that. I I don't know if I meant to. I don't know if land the plane it meant that. Uh, okay, but sure. Oh, but it didn't know what land the plane means because it lost track of the agent's IMD. Okay, next speed ray. Okay. All right, 10 minutes. Let's try to. I want to ask it about this thing before we get too far, though. Why did we close? Did we uptake those changes in? I feel like we might have did. Close about merge. Superseded by both address same root cause, but took a better approach. Okay. Okay. Cool. All right. So that's good. Okay, cool. Let me just check, see what. Cool. All right. Let's ultra think and continue planning. Let's see how much we're using Claude here. Damn, I didn't do this enough, or I didn't juggle enough. Because this is resets Wednesday, 5:59. It's Monday. So yeah, basically I'm telling it, all right, let's, in preparation for prod, let's figure out just a consistent way to deploy our shared things without causing too much downtime, or without causing downtime, at least. applied during maintenance window. Deletion protection. Prod. Okay, so just to reiterate how I'm thinking about this. I want to separate the application from the share. That will be changing more often from the share infra that will not separation between the application infra that will be changing more often lambdas. Does the current architecture and plan support this? Yes, current architecture supports separation. Let me show you. Shared infra rarely changes. Terraform state. Pure database management. Sure RDS. Where updated, shared infra untouched, share infra changes, runs untouched. Enable multi-easy. Let's not enable Z on prod for now. to ensure that that the shared infra had workflows to deploy on both dev and prod. In that we should try to limit the downtime due deploys. I'm not sure. Supports that, both don't have separate workflows and key safeguards are in place. Zero time safeguards apply immediately during maintenance window. Predictable. What is this maintenance window thing? Is this a thing that... Who's doing the maintenance window? Is this me going and applying this, or what? Let's see. Let me ask. I gotta go soon. What is the maintenance window? What is the maintenance window? From RDS maintenance, oh, it like defines... So it's defined in the RDS. Okay. Okay. All right. Actually, let's...
I'm not quite sure how to help you with that.
12 minutes ago. Deploy share infrastructure. Okay, please make sure you keep this plan in beats. And make sure this is plan updated in beats. Okay, I just want to make sure it whole plan. Let me update it. Okay. I just want to persist this and then have it work on this, but then I got to run. But yeah, not deployed to prod yet. For real, for real. Okay, thanks. Please fix. Yeah, so we'll get to prod at some point. Point is, we need to fix the infrastructure, really dial in the infrastructure. At some point, I'll name a framework after that. And then we can really fly. We can really just make the thing go. So anyways, gotta run. Thank you for watching, and I will see you later.